In this video, I will narrate 3 reasons from an investor's perspective of why the first $100,000 is so hard to make, and then at the end, I will share 2 tips for improving your investment portfolio, which can potentially change your mindset and thoughts towards faster accumulation of the first $100,000. So please stick around to the end of this video. By the way, I am Kevin, an enthusiast of personal finance, investment in general, taxes, stock market investment, cryptocurrency, economic trends, and many more money talks around the world. So please subscribe to this channel and like this video so that I can be bringing you endless money mindset videos like this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays. It sounds funny, but my target is 100,000 subscribers, yet I don't know when I will reach there, so your subscription counts. Back to the video. First, did you know that most investors agrees that for several reasons, the first $100,000 is the most difficult to accumulate? On that note, you are not alone on this road to making your first $100,000, as many rich people often agree that their first $100,000 was their biggest hurdle. However, when the first objective of accumulating $100,000 is accomplished, it is a lot easier to target and reach other accumulations of $150,000, $250,000, $500,000, and even $1 million because of the compounding effect. The compounding effect is highly advised by Charles Thomas Munger. He is an American billionaire investor, businessman, and former real estate attorney. He is also the vice chair of Berkshire Hathaway, the conglomerate controlled by Warren Buffett. Buffett describes Munger as his closest partner and right-hand man. Anyway, let's find out what makes it so difficult to hit the $100,000 mark, and then we can have a conversation about how the process may be sped up. In other words, you will be able to save money far more quickly than you anticipated thanks to practicing some of the tips I'm going to offer you based on my experience as well. The first reason why $100,000 is difficult to accumulate is that many people generally fear initiating their first investment. Did you know that many people often fear investing, then they later convince themselves that investing is not that significant? Such people scratch their head and wonder how other investments are successful, yet they hardly start their own investment to know more about investing and how it works for others. But generally, investing comes with its own challenges that you can only best understand by making your first move of investing. They say that best experience is to experience, so experience wisely and also don't fear making mistakes along the way. Do not wait and procrastinate too much by constantly convincing yourself that you will invest when you have more money. Investment requires time, and the earlier you start learning and practicing investment, the better your chances of success in future, because you will be accumulating enough experience along the way. To put it another way, if you have more money than you need, you will not bother investing it. So start small and sail up the investment ladder where those you admire have reached. You never know, you may be the next Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, or even Elon Musk. Investing is something you do because you want to enhance your own financial status, so you don't need to fear failing. Most investors made mistakes before reaching the desired levels we see them today. Learn from their mistakes and from your mistakes as well. What you need to do is to start investing small and aim high like an eagle up the sky. As is the case with many things in life, getting started may be challenging, particularly if the objective is still some distance away. So convince yourself to make that first investment step, so that you don't fall into the group of people who hesitate, procrastinate, only to live with regrets that they wish they tried. The second reason why reaching the $100,000 mark is difficult is because when starting to save or invest, you will be the sole investor and you will be required to foot all the investment funds or capital as the first step, which most people don't have. You will need to put in a lot of effort and provide the majority of the capital for that startup yourself in order to reach that first $100,000 investment goal. Once your investment account has reached a certain threshold of value, the power of compound interest will start to become apparent. It is not always the case that an increase in the percentage return results in an increase in the total amount of money generated, because it takes time for the initial principal amount to compound to an equal amount. An example of investment that one can start with a smaller deposit and compound your wealth portfolio is purchasing your first home that requires a down payment of about 3 to 10%. The real estate property should have an equity, meaning that you should acquire it slightly below the average market value. That property will give you an average of 5 to 15% annual interest of the property's value based on your prowess in real estate and the market around the property. From the property, a return of 10% on a property that you invested $5,000 over the course of a year is $500, which is scarcely apparent in comparison to how simple it is to generate $500 by working a few more hours here and there. It is possible that this sum may not seem to be very significant when weighed against the return of 10% on an investment of $100,000. However, the compounding effect works best with investment in stock market, and even the real estate example I just showed you demonstrated and affirmed the power of compound interest. In addition, if you can keep up with buying stocks or real estate property to a point of an estimated worth of $100,000, you will now begin to see the magic of compounding effect explained by Charlie Munger. What I mean is that your financial independence will begin to skyrocket when your portfolio invested reach $100,000 because the same amount will be generating a yearly return on investment of 10%, which is equivalent to $10,000, and in 10 years you will be over $200,000. When you hit $1 million, which will take a shorter period of time compared to the accumulation of $100,000, you will earn $100,000 return on investment per year, which is equivalent to a 10% annual return on your investment. That is a significant sum of money, maybe more than a good number of individuals earn in an entire year's worth of wages combined at their jobs. In addition to that, it is thrilling to see such rapid development of your portfolio. It is a common misconception that if an investor's portfolio is worth $100,000 or more, it would be simpler to track how their assets have performed over time. When the snowball first begins to roll, the pace at which it expands at first slows, but then quickly picks up speed over time. What I mean is that with an investment of $10,000, you will take longer time to reach an investment portfolio of $100,000 and lesser time to reach $1 million when you are already at $100,000. It is because you shall have known how snowball works and how to build passive investment. You will find yourself replicating the same principle faster to reach $1 million because you have the experience and knowledge to do so. The accumulation of wealth in one's investment account is very gratifying, and a person's enthusiasm about their growing wealth may hasten the accumulation process. In a similar way, when you realize how much money you may earn, you'll want to discover methods to add to your portfolio that don't take a lot of time and effort. You will find yourself looking into other several methods that might bring in extra cash. You run the risk of gaining more money from these investments than you first invested your $5,000 or $10,000. You might also look at other measures to increase your financial stability. In other words, the rate of growth will quicken. When you consider how simple and compound interest may operate together, you might rethink your decision to spend $100 in a restaurant and opt to prepare meals at home often. This is because you will be able to see how just $100 may increase and pay you back several times over the course of time. If you have $100 saved up and choose to treat yourself to a good dinner in a restaurant, you will never be able to get that money back. But if you put the same $100 in the stock market or savings account toward real estate down payments, it will be much more difficult to spend it because it has an investment objective awaiting it. In such situation, the $100 you did not use in the restaurant may earn you an addition of $10 and then begin compounding over time. After the first interest of $10, the amount of the subsequent investment interest from the same $100 will be $11 and so on. This example shows that it is not important how much money you save. Rather, what is important is how often you save that dollar towards your financial stability and investments. Let us now look at the third reason. But before that, please subscribe and like this video if you have reached this far before we proceed. I will also wind up by giving tips for speeding up $100,000 accumulation. Alright, now let's go back to the video. The third reason why most people find it difficult to reach $100,000 saving or investment portfolio is that they underestimate the freedom that comes with it after just a few years. I wish many people knew how after a short period of time, the amount of investment portfolio growth and passive income that the invested $100,000 will bring in their lives. When you have saved and invested $100,000, you will begin to understand how much more freedom you have as a result of it. You are able to do a great deal of things that someone who lives from paycheck to paycheck would never be able to achieve. For example, you will be able to choose which job pays you higher even while not working because you have some passive income coming your way to help you in your daily living expenses. You will never be in a hurry to take a job that you don't like or pays you less when you have some passive income to live off. And if you do discover a job that pays more or gives you a chance to advance, you will get paid more, which means you are still increasing your investment portfolio because you will no longer need the passive income from the $100,000 and just keep the interest reinvested. Alternatively, if you are on average salary of about $50,000 annually, the passive income from the $100,000 invested gives you the opportunity to increase that amount to over $60,000 because it will be adding you $10,000 interest annually. You can quit the $50,000 employment wage when your dream is to own your business, or work your way to being an own boss, since what prevented you was the lack of financial means to make that dream a reality. You can open a business with the whole $100,000 and work your way from that point to being a business owner, which comes with other privileges. For those who lack the $100,000 needed to start their business, they will never know whether it would have been successful or not, since you will never be able to do it for lack of capital because you didn't strategically save your way to $100,000. Those who lack the saved $100,000 will never penetrate quickly in real estate market because they lack the financial ability to pay multiple 10 to 20% deposit on 2 to 3 properties to start collecting rent, as they capitalize on the real estate continuous market growth. There is a possibility that a fantastic opportunity to invest in real estate will present itself, but those without a good savings of $100,000 will never close them easily because they are not cash fluid. If you have some additional money and are confident in the future of a stock, you may be able to take greater risks with your investment. In the event that one of your investments is unsuccessful, you will still have some cash left out to try something else. There is always a way out of a difficult circumstance, even if it's an opportunity that only comes along once in a lifetime. When you do not have a significant amount of money saved up, your level of freedom of time, finances, and location to attend to other life matters is also significantly reduced. It is possible that you will be able to invest more if you have a larger cash reserve at your disposal, unlike someone without. Since I promised you that I will share some tips to speed up saving of $100,000, you can now check out the following tips and try practicing them. First tip is either look for side hustles, take extra shifts, or work multiple jobs to get income increment. A larger amount of income is required in order to consistently save aside more cash. Working longer shifts throughout the week or on the weekends is one strategy for accomplishing this goal. To increase your income, you may want to look into acquiring a second job and living within that second job while saving up the whole of the first job wage. You can also try doing some freelancing jobs in Upwork or Fiverr to increase your income and boost your savings. The second tip is use a budget tracker that are freely available online to cut down some of your expenditure, and then the same amount top them up to your $100,000 savings plan. Because the majority of the assistance you are providing towards the $100,000 saving plan will be monetary in nature, it will be like paying yourself first, so do not be afraid to pay yourself more than anything else that consumes your money. It is essential that you make more of an effort to cut costs and put the same amount of money in your $100,000 savings account. This is the most effective method for advancing the procedure more quickly. Be frugal and avoid purchasing items that you do not need. Remember to keep a close check on the penny at all times. Since you are aware that this difficult period will only persist until you achieve your objective, it is in your best interest to avoid taking on costly auto payments for vehicles that you do not need. Sadly enough, if you do not follow these tips, then definitely you will never reach that $100,000 easily. Given the frequency with which human expenditures arise, only a small percentage of individuals will ever manage to save up to $100,000, leave alone $1 million. It will be a lot simpler for you to continue doing what you have been doing after you have learned how to save money and invest it. When you have a significant amount of wealth, you will be used to finding ideal methods to increase your income and keeping some of it aside for a time when you need it. You will grow accustomed to giving serious consideration to the things that you purchase and questioning whether you really need them, while also considering whether or not it would be more beneficial to save the money. You will have the self-assurance to own the market's vicissitudes without being frightened away by the possibility of incurring financial loss. In addition to that, there is a possibility that you may pick up some pointers on how to get the most out of the stock market, real estate, and many more investments along the way. Charlie Munger argues that after you achieve $100,000, it becomes simpler, since the majority of your investments will be made up of compound interest rather than money obtained once. This is true even if your next milestone is the first $1 million. You need to start making money on your own so that you are not financially reliant on other people. Making money does become less difficult, more enjoyable, and more satisfying with time, so you need to keep learning, and that is why I recommend that you subscribe, like, share, and give me your thoughts in the comment sections. Don't forget that I said I am headed to 100,000 subscribers, but I don't know when you people will reach me there. So subscribe and like the video for the mighty YouTube algorithm to do its magic. You can now click that video I have suggested for you in the screen to learn more toward your financial freedom journey.